I'll check on myself.
Yeah.
Check on yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did they do the private? Oh, because you guys, I mean, it's got to do it. Set up.
Says it's on now. Says it's working.
You got the stream now?
It came up and said it's.
I don't have it yet.
Yeah. I can't, I just muted it, so I don't know if I can hear it, but I have it on.
Yep.
It's on. I can hear it. It's working. Can you hear yourself? Yeah.
Yep.
Is it because it's so many, I don't know.
It's working. Unless it stopped, but I think it's still on.
It is.
Okay.
There's a 30-second delay. So.
Yeah, I just
It's always
moved my hand.
Yeah.
It was special.
Okay. On my end, it says it's not working, but I'll leave it.
It's working.
It's live streaming.
Okay. Can you hear it? Yeah. So the time's 6:10, and I call the August 13th. This is a special meeting because of our location change to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. The flag is right behind me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Comments?
Just a double check.
Approval of the minutes. I don't think we have the minutes in here.
No.
No, we'll have them at the next meeting. Correspondence and announcements.
There's none in the packet, but you can
But I think the announcement is what we just did.
Yes, so we finally received our senior van, and we just had the dedication ceremony for it, in memory of, or dedicated to Ronald Tugas, and we received a citation from the General Assembly, and it'll be hanging on the wall in the meeting room when we get it ready. So that's great. So we've been waiting for about 3 years for it to come. And the next step with the van is I'm meeting with the Elderly Commission. I think their next meeting's on Monday, and I've been putting together a rough draft of policies and for the use of the bus. I found a couple from other towns and put something together and have a couple of things to go over with the Elderly Commission for their opinion. And we should have it to review for the next meeting. So that'll be at the next meeting. And I think that's all I have right now. I don't think anything else is going on. I think that's it. Public Works report. We are in the process of, we're currently for our guardrail system on our town roads, we use wooden posts with cables, and a lot of the cables are breaking, and we can't find them anywhere, that type of cable to replace it. And it seems that that way of safetiness of the roads is not used anymore or recognized, so it's actual guardrail. So we've been slowly looking at where to replace the wooden posts and cables with actual guardrail, and we're starting on Brown Road because that's a road that we're working on chip sealing first, so we figured we would put the guardrails in before we chip seal, and we applied to use LoCIP money for that. It was like about $70,000 for the Brown Road. I think it's in like And I think also on that list is a section on North Shore Road, at Forge Hill, where there's, broken guardrail right now, and we need to replace it. Even though it's gonna probably get replaced when the bridge is there, but for safety reasons, we gotta do it sooner than later, so.
So the state won't allow us to use the cedar posts and wires anymore?
Well, we can't find the cable anywhere. So it's. and
So
the state-
whether or not road or building code has changed, it's a supply issue.
And we were told that the DOT doesn't use it, because the DOT was stopped using it too. So they're actually replacing the ones on state roads with guardrail also. So, so that's what we're in the process of doing. There are places where there's just poles, and that's fine, because then with the ones with the metal, with the steel rails are the ones that are actually supposed to be used like a guardrail. The other ones are more just to let people know that there's a drop off, or it's usually not a really high drop off. Because when you, yeah,
The cost to replace all of the
It's a lot.
deteriorating cedar posts are pretty expensive since the cable's already in place. Would it be worth looking at doing this over a course of a number of years?
oh yeah, that's
perhaps?
what we're doing.
Okay, so
We're not
you
doing
replace-
it, right now we're doing it as we're doing the roads, so it's not, we can't do them all at once because it's really expensive, so we're doing it as needed. Like right now, we're doing Brent Road because that's a road we're getting ready to chip seal, and it's just, it's easier to do it that way. But then after that, we'll probably be going by which ones have a steeper drop off, or reasons like that, where the town would be more liable.
For that company that had done the assessment of the quality of the roads?
Yeah.
Was that part of their assessment, and also figuring out where there was, no, so it was just the quality of the roads?
Yeah.
Maybe the town could make a recommendation on spots where the cedar posts are particularly bad.
Yeah.
Like I know, for instance, on Wiley School Road, there are some spots where the cedar posts are largely rotted through.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the cable's still there, so, post hole digger.
Well, that's not gonna work, because once you have to loosen up the cable to weave it through, and it's gonna puts the cable in jeopardy, because you're loosening it and moving it around. It might make it not as strong, so, because the cable's all old too, so.
Yeah, but that stuff is basically bridge cable.
Yeah.
It'll last 50, 70 years.
Right.
I can't, to my mind, remember, but I think the wires go through like an I-ring, steel I-ring.
Yeah.
That goes through the cedar post, so maybe it's simply possible to.
Yeah, I can have the public works guys check that out if that works.
Just as a suggestion.
Yeah.
One thing that I've seen, even when they were in good shape, on Shetucket, I can think of at least 2 different accidents, at least over the past 10 years, where a car not even hitting it 90 degrees, just coming at an angle and going right through it. So I don't know how effective they are.
They're not.
Well, the cedar posts, are going to deteriorate. I think they used to set them in creosote to try and work
Right,
as a
like
wood
the-
preserver. Yeah.
Yeah.
But really what it is, it's the cable is what's acting as a brake on the vehicle. Even if you had 3 or 4 posts go through, as long as the stress is spread out over a
And I
series
know
number of posts.
the main problem right now too is it's really, really hard to tighten that cable once it's loose. It's really hard to tighten it and get it anchored back the way that it was. So, and that's, once you even touch it or loosen it, that's a liability too. So if you can't get it to a certain tension, then it doesn't serve its purpose. So it's.
Right. My suggestion was
almost
not to do the more modern thing,
Yeah.
obviously. We have a budget, we already know that
Yeah.
it's $400,000 a year just to keep the town roads at grade.
Yeah.
And we're spending $250, so this
Yeah.
is one more thing to throw on top of
Yeah.
that. I was just thinking in terms of, in those areas where the posts are clearly rotted through,
Right.
if there was a way to replace the posts
Yeah.
without disturbing the cable,
Yeah. I can have them check that.
you can't even keep the roads to grade.
Right. Yeah. It's worth the check. And so that's what Public Works is working on right now. We did have, we put 3 vehicles out to public auction. Julie put them on Gov Deals, and it was pretty exciting. They sold pretty good, so Julie can explain.
We made approximately $16,000 on the 3 vehicles. So there's the 1989 loader, went for 8,300. The little John Deere tractor was 4,300 maybe, 4,000. And then the old dump truck, I forgot the year on that one. That one for 4,000 as well. So it was pretty easy. You just sent them the information, they put it on within a week.
What have we done in years past?
We used to put them
Someone's
on.
a bid.
Well, we used to create an auction. You put it, not really an auction, but a silent bid process where you put them out in the paper and say, we're selling these 3 vehicles, put in your seal bid, and then we'd open them up like a bid type of thing.
Yeah.
I think this way made way more money. There's
It's
no
probably
way.
getting a lot more eyeballs.
Yeah,
People are
Because
outbidding
the-
each other. It was like watching people gambling.
the last half hour of the bid, you could see them every, it was supposed to close and they kept going
If
up.
you've
by
ever
100,
spent
by
any
100.
quality time on eBay, the last 30 minutes is where all the action
So it went
happens,
from
so.
6,000 to 8,300 in like 15 minutes. So I think you definitely get a lot more for your money by putting them out on Gov Deals, so.
And quicker too, it sounds like.
Yeah, within a week,
Less effort.
absolutely. And they were all been picked up and paid for, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick and easy.
Is that a problem with Bluetooth primary request?
No, it's not going out on the feed. That's what I was checking when I stepped
Yeah,
out.
and it's not really doing anything.
So it's just on the screen in here. It's wants to connect and we don't care.
Alright, so next is finance report, and that's attached.
Want me to go through it quickly?
Sure.
So fiscal year 23-24, the first one's 24-25, that's just their expenditures to date. Obviously, it's only been a month, so we just started. 23-24, if you look at the revenue, we are receiving more revenue than we budgeted for, mainly because of prior year taxes. So that's Giselle working on really hard trying to get the prior years. She had a couple, did one go to auction? One house went to auction?
It was gonna go to auction, but they paid
She
it.
had another one that did fail.
There's 3 that are set for auction right now.
The, because, was it the Wicked Boxes we kept, but there was another one that went. So, but she's been working on really trying to get rid of a lot of the older properties, so a lot of the extra taxes is from that. And the investment income, we did really well. Expected the interest rates to go down this year, which they didn't.
It's not September yet.
Well, this is the next fiscal year now, so, I mean, it's kind of a hard joke, to know when the interest rates are gonna stay, whether they're gonna stay high or go low, so. We were a little conservative maybe, so we made, an extra 78,000 there, so. Total extra was 349,000, our expenses, one place we were a little off was, where the firefighters, they've been struggling to get 2 people a day for the day staff, so that's part of the reason why we didn't use the whole budget there. So we're returning about 44,000 in expenses back to the town. I think pretty much all the bills for 23-24, and, it might change a little bit, but we're doing the audit September 10th to the 12th, so we'll have the final numbers.
Anyone have any questions? While we're looking at this, I remembered something else for announcements. The school zone signs. I ordered the school zone signs, so it's the beacons, and I got speed readers, so it'll say during school hours, the beacons will flash, and it'll have your speed, so if people are going, when they're driving by, it'll flash how fast they're going. And the sign says that it's a 25-mile-per-hour school zone. So I got 2 of those. The signs came in, the speed readers came in, and I'm just waiting for the poles to put them up. Because the poles they come with a big base and the poles, it was $2,000 for the poles and the base. Still waiting for those to come in, and this week, Eversource will be out there disconnecting the old beacon lights, so we can take those off, and the DOT will be out there, putting up new signs and taking down old ones. So I'm hoping the poles will come in this week, so I'm just hoping to have everything up before school starts, that we're starting to get a little bit.
Keith was in asking what you needed him to do today.
Okay. They should be out there this week, disconnecting that, so I'll call him on Monday and I'll touch base with Eversource on Monday and find out if they're done. And I'll let him know. Yeah. So that's an update on that. It's getting closer. The treasurer's report is that one?
There is.
So, investment and interest earned for the month of July is $10,321. Fiscal year, $10,323. So I don't know where the other $2. Oh. It says
Next
right in the
paragraph, yes. Yep,
Citizens Bank.
the overnight funds,
Yeah.
$2.
There we go. That's the treasurer's report. Any comments on that or anything?
No?
Old business ARPA funds. Still going through that. Fire department, they ordered their UTV. We're still getting the bills through that to see what we have left. We'll have that on the agenda for our next meeting, so we gotta get that cleared up. Spent
When does, what's the final expiration date for ARPA funds?
October,
December.
December.
Not this week or this month.
No,
Got it.
next meeting, we have to have it definitely in plan, so
Okay.
that'll be on the agenda next meeting. The Cape Street Playground Committee, we've ordered the playground, that's what's October. That's supposed to come in October.
The
So,
Looking at schedule for that.
schedule for
yeah. So the schedule's included. Hoping to have everything done by October, so. And the Municipal Complex Improvement Committee, Steve, we're still working on that. Did they make a date for the vault?
sessions will be August 26th. That week.
That is, the brick and the inside of the lock is, vault had water damage and was crumbling, so it's really dusty and gross in there, yeah. So that's gonna get sealed and cleaned. So the trip grant is sidewalks.
Yep. The design for the sidewalk.
Yep, so the design for the sidewalks that we are working on. We haven't gotten the report on it, they were out there doing the survey. The CIF grant is the water study grant, and we have a meeting scheduled within the next couple of weeks to start that process. Ordinances. It's on the agenda later. So, new business.
You're looking at the ordinances for the signs and
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
they'll be asked for the other, by the
For what?
Are we doing any of those?
For what?
The,
The homeless stuff?
yeah,
That's on the agenda.
okay.
Park signage.
Oh, right.
So, 8244 Ruffler DEP Trail 1, so there should be a picture attached.
I can share it. You want me to share it?
Yes, please.
I'm not seeing that.
It's okay. So, I have to get up and point at it. but,
Is that in the package?
No,
You didn't print?
that's not in the package.
so DEP Trail 1, I don't remember if I've talked about this at a meeting in a while, but DEP Trail 1 is the road right on the Griswold line. It's the first road in the.
Right next to where the substation used to be.
Yeah. It's actually a state road right now, a state forest road. Somehow, there were houses built on this road.
Yeah.
So,
There's a whole bunch of, like, 3 or 4 houses on
so it's
the
made,
other side.
it's been a conflict between the state and the town well before I was here, and over who maintains this road. The state forest, as their policy, they don't maintain their roads as far as plowing in the winter, because their roads are all closed in the winter. That's why Hill Hollow Road closes. We couldn't do that because we have residents on the road, and we couldn't tell the residents that it's their responsibility to plow it because it's not a private road. It's still a public road. It's just a state public road, not a town public road. So it's been an issue for years. Finally, the road is in really bad condition right now. We plow it. As past practice, it's been plowed just so that we can get emergency vehicles up. And like I said, it's not a private road, so we can't tell them they have to do it. The road needs to be repaired. I reached out to the state to see if they would be willing to just give it to us, so that we can maintain it for the safety of our residents and so our trucks don't get damaged. They said, sure, we'll start the process. So we went and we got it surveyed. We got quotes on a surveyor. Boundaries was the lowest of our quotes. We're splitting the cost of the survey. So the issue was, it got surveyed, and it turns out there's a section of the road on private property. So,
So that's Main Street on the left, correct?
Main Street's up here, and there's a small triangle right here where the road is on the McGuire's property. So, we met with the McGuire's, and he's fine with the town taking the road because it obviously, he wanted compensation for the road being on his property. So we figured it out with John's help and Boundaries. For some reason, the survey has the McGuire property like a wide V down here. So John figured out how much the size of this, and by straightening out the V area, was able to get the equal amount of property. So it's not anything really. It's a swap of the property that's currently owned by the state, but.
So is the sequence going to be the state transfers
To us.
and then
Then
we do this little piece for this little piece
Yes.
swap with the
Yes.
McGuire's?
That's
Okay.
the easiest way to do it, because the state has a policy where they don't give land to private, I don't know, they have a huge policy that makes it take longer, like, cause already they have a 30-day window before they can transfer the property, and they're just starting that too, cause they have
To
to
us.
do, yeah.
Okay.
So, but on our side, this has to be approved at a town, like the whole land transfer has to be approved at a town meeting too. So we both have a process to go through. So, it would make more sense for us to know too if the public's gonna agree to the transfer as well, so.
Which were transfer 1 from the state to the town, or
Yes.
transfer 2 from the town to
Probably both.
swapping with the McGuire?
Probably both, we have to do both.
Okay.
Which we change our meeting call.
You do it at the same time or at separate times?
Well,
You have to do the one first, right?
Yeah,
yeah, because the first one has to be approved.
You can't swap it until that one's approved,
yeah.
so it'll have to be two town meetings.
I don't know if we can do it at the same one, I'll ask Ray.
Yeah, can we set the second one to be conditional upon only if the first one passes?
Yeah, I'll ask him, because that would save time.
Yeah.
I'll ask him that.
And scheduled for the same night, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
You have to do public hearings on each piece.
I don't, Rich said we didn't have to do a public hearing when I asked him the first time about the first part. I will ask him again about it. The state hasn't started theirs yet, and theirs is automatically 30 days too.
So do we lose, I mean, this is not a big piece of road. Do we lose anything in terms of funding from the state, for the state transferring this to us?
No, we would actually gain, because it would increase our town road. It's not, I don't even know what, I can't remember what it
It's
says.
an unimproved road, so there won't be a
Yeah.
lot of.
Right, I think it's only between a quarter and a half mile. Because we regularly hike that with the scouts.
Yeah,
We
it's
come
not
out
that
there
long.
or we go in that way.
And it adds, also included in the, transfer from the state to the town is an easement for the plow to turn around. Because the property line that goes to the town ends like, there's a stone wall over there, so it ends like right where the private property, the residents are, and then the road goes on, so it also includes an easement, an access easement for the public works to turn around. Right now, they are clipping trees and they do turn around down there, but they need more, they actually need a little bit more room and more place to put the snow.
Who's granting the easement?
The state, that would be from the state,
Okay.
so, because it would be on their end of the road, because the road still goes on through the forest.
Mhm.
So the easement, there's some gates back, because they have a gate where they close the road.
Right.
So the easement is like right before the gate part, so.
When the state transfers, is it title? Is it
It's
a title
deed, like
transfer?
a deed,
A deed?
yeah,
Does the easement,
goes in there, it goes as an attachment or,
right, but does
Right.
it specifically, does the easement have to be rewritten, redone because it specifically calls out the state?
the easement, I don't know what you mean.
Does the easement specifically call out that the easement is to the state of Connecticut?
The easement's to the town
From the state?
from the state, so the town can use the state property to turn around, because
Oh, so this is past
Past the
what they're
where we're
transferring to
at,
us.
yeah.
Got it, okay, now I
Yeah.
understand.
Because
Okay.
where they're transferring to us, there's like a stone wall right there, so we
Yeah.
can't turn around right where our property ends when it transfers over. We have to have a spot to turn around, and this is all stuff that we do already, so on our end, it's not real, nothing's gonna change. We're still gonna plow the road, we're still gonna maintain the road, it's all stuff we've been doing as past practice, so.
In improving this unimproved road, are we gonna have to bring it up to current code?
No. And that'll be that's part of the agreement, that this road is clearly not a two-code road. And we're not gonna make it that. It's gonna stay as it is.
And we can do that?
We can do that because it's an old road and it's as it is. We can't do that, and it's a
So-
state road, it's not a private road. If it
Well, no,
was
I'm
a
just thinking back to, the day when Walter Jobs had been after the town for decades.
If it was a private road, then the town, it's the best interest, if it's a private road, it's the best interest of the town to not take on a private road unless it's up to standards of a road, because that's the best interest. This is a state road, so it's already a public road, and we already maintain it and put money into it as it is. So, it's not,
But the act of transferring from the state to the town is not going to trigger or get rid of
No.
any grandfather that we do not have to do any
no,
additional
because
work
that's
on
for a private road. This isn't a private road.
it. Okay, well, it's a public road, so I
State road.
It's a public road that's currently owned by the state, that'll become a public road owned by the town, and I'll refrain from further commentary there.
so that it doesn't trigger the private road rule.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so we don't have to improve it because it was a public stand, and it's still public.
Yeah, just,
Okay.
Guardrails come on later.
there's stone walls all the way up that road pretty much, so it's impossible. And some of the houses are like right on the road, it's like impossible to make that road any wider. Because ironically, when the state first talked to me about transferring it over, their first thing they said was that we had to bring it up. We had to widen it so that it could fit logging trucks going 2 ways. Going like, I was like, yeah, never mind. 'Cause
Yeah, no, 'cause
it's not
that's-
happening.
That
Yeah.
road is, from stone wall to stone wall is maybe
Yeah.
12 feet at some
I was
spots.
like, that's not even gonna happen. That road cannot even get, that road cannot get wider.
Yeah,
It can't.
well, it can, but it would be very ugly.
A lot of eminent domain,
Yeah, exactly. So,
no appetite for that.
Yeah.
no.
So it would stay as is. No intention to make it bigger, just.
So transferring doesn't trigger anything, that was my
Yeah.
question and concern,
Yeah.
so.
Because that was the first thing I looked at before I asked them. Because every other I live on a private road, and we would love to have the town take our road, but, yeah. There are things for private roads that everyone would have wanted the town to take care of. So that's the trail. The waiver for the community connectivity grant. So, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, that we received, a community connectivity grant that we applied for.
This probably should have been another, better order. Can we do the purchasing policy revision first? Before
I
we
make a
do the
motion
waiver?
that we move the purchasing revision, policy revision above the waiver for community connectivity grant.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Still
Okay.
in the gate
So
there.
now we're talking about the purchasing policy revision. Trying to remember.
All right, I can do that one.
Yeah, I do it.
So there's 2 pages in here. And it's really just a simple little change.
You want to keep sharing the DEP trail, you're still sharing that.
She's back on skip.
Oh, yeah, there's a trail.
There's only 2 for them.
We get a piece of it. Right.
Okay.
All right.
So, under waivers, section 8, under waivers, the only thing I'd like to add is, on the second page, it didn't come out highlighted, I copied it,
Page 17.
on
Yeah.
page 17, number 8, just to add the bid for the same goods and services conducted within the last 90 days, if it's the same, if it's for the same goods or services, you don't have to go out to bid a second time for the same thing. Like, we went out to bid for the sidewalks, we already got people who do sidewalks, put in bids. There's no use spending the money, time and money to do a
Go out to
second
bid
bid for the
again.
same exact thing.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to change on our waiver, on our purchasing policy, just to approve that change. So we need a motion to make the change.
How much money does it save us, not having RPs and?
Quite a bit,
Time
actually.
and money too.
So in talking to, Freeman Company's got the first bid. So basically the two, and we talked to the state about it as well. The 2 pieces interconnect. So it would be getting a whole nother survey company out there doing the same exact thing that's already happening in the same spots. So you're doing, if you put it out to bid and got a different company, you'd be paying another company to do the same thing you just have another, this company doing right now. So it was another 30,000-40,000 maybe just in the design phase. So there's no point in spending the extra money to have 2 different companies do the same thing. So we talked to the state and we said, we've already, with the trip, we've already gone out to bid. We got this company, he was, the best. Can we use this for the other grants as well? And they said absolutely, as long as the town approves it, it's, you know, it's town money, it's up to the town's purchasing policy. But we're actually in favor of using the same person. The other side of it, when we put it out to bid, we've talked to them, we're putting out both, projects as one bid and include both of them in the same bid, because again, you're getting, surveyors and the construction pieces. It's already, you know, to have two different companies do it, it's gonna cost a lot more in the construction phase as well. So it's gonna save, so that was one of the reasons why, when you read the waiver, under number 5, the formal process would result in substantially higher cost, and inefficient use of personnel. So it's gonna cost us a lot more to do 2 bids in 2 different companies than using one company.
And it could lead to more error and things not melding right if you're going 2 separate ways, so this just
Yeah, you have one
protects the
company
town.
doing a sidewalk over
Yeah.
here and another company doing it completely different over here. I mean, it's just kind of very inefficient, so
So number 8 is an addition, and we are voting for adding
adding
item
number
number 8,
8
bid for same goods or services within the last 90 days.
And that if we ever have the same situation again, we can go to if we're working with another company that does the same thing, and we can,
So it's
choose
part
to
of our
hire them.
procurement policy.
so just need a motion. If so, agree on.
Concerns?
You know, if it's a small dollar amount, you know, it makes perfect sense. This is $800,000, right?
Not for the design.
Not for the design, the town has to pay for the design.
Okay.
The grant's for the actual construction, so this isn't even grant money that we're talking about, this is town money.
So this is just for the design process?
Yep.
And until it's about, what, 40,000?
The design phase, for the second piece will be about 57. If we have to go out to bid and do it separately, he gave us an estimate about, what was it, 70 to 80,000. So
It saves us money.
it saves us money, time and money.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna have the same exact people put in the same, you know, similar bids. It's not like you're not allowing others to bid on that project. They had the ample opportunity to bid on the first one.
I just wonder, I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but I almost wonder if there shouldn't be some dollar point that you cross that you can't just automatically hand a contract. I mean, if it were for a larger project, $40,000 is not a big deal.
So, yeah.
$400,000, then you're starting to talk real money.
This is just the design phase. When we do the construction phase, it'll go out in one bid, both projects.
Okay.
So that the construction phase will go out to bid for both projects. It's just gonna be under one bid. It's not gonna be 2 separate bids.
And again, this is if the bid's been within 90 days, so the odds of that actually falling in 90 days for another project to come up are very slim. Like, we just happen to be doing a lot of projects right now, but.
Sure, I understand, and I understand it's not big money. I'm just wondering if, you know, a mill's worth what, $220,000, $240,000? If there should be some language to the effect of in projects that do not exceed the value of a mill. So that it's at some point, you know, you've got the latitude
Then
to
you gotta
operate
think too,
economically.
like, what's defined as the project, because overall, the whole project is like $1 million. So, this is just the design, we're only responsible for the town to pay for the design phase.
And I'm not saying it's not a good idea, it is a good idea. But the people in this room are gonna be different from the people that sit in this room. You know, 15, 20 years from now, God forbid,
They
we end
can
up.
still choose to go out to bid if they want to, this just makes it so that you can choose to.
Yeah, and if you look at
That's
the
why
next,
it's on a case-by-case basis and
Yeah.
brought to the
Because if
select.
they wanted to go out to bid, they can still go out to bid, this is just an option.
and what I'm hearing from you, Jim, is you're concerned about potential abuse.
Right.
At some point in the future, you know,
Well,
Not with us, not with
We still
us.
have to go out to bid, and the grant process is requiring going out to bid, so it's not like one, we didn't go out to bid, we did go out to bid. And two, the grant process is a separate, whole other, you know, procurement piece. And we talked to the state about it, and we said, can we do the waiver? They said yes, but for the construction phase, both pieces are going out to bid. It's just gonna go under one bid.
so the next paragraph states that the first selectman or designee may grant the waiver for any of the above listed reasons, including number 8, Upon granting such waiver, first selectman must in writing state the reason for the grant. So the first selectman, the way this is written, is on the hook for writing up why the waiver is being granted. What if that was changed to the Board of Selectmen? So that it's
So
then,
it would be brought up to the board of selectmen on a case-by-case basis to happen, so.
right, but the way this is written, it says the first selectman, in his or her sole determination, may grant the waiver.
Oh, was that in there before?
That's the
That was
paragraph
in there
after
before.
number 8, so if we change that so that it's a vote by the Board of Selectmen, that makes it less likely that a first selectman could do something that would be considered going rogue, for lack of a better term.
You want board of selectmen instead?
I think that makes this an easier change on what's here rather than putting hard limits, and it addresses what I think is your concern, Jim.
Right, okay.
Do you like that?
I agree with that too. I think that for a waiver would be better for the board to go through than one person.
Right, I would just assume we would be doing a board anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Right, but again, a
Right,
future,
you say that,
a future
yeah.
board,
No,
you know, the way this is written,
Yeah.
that they've got an out to say that a first selectman doesn't have to get a vote
Yeah.
of agreement on it, so.
Yeah, I agree
So
with
make
that.
those two changes.
Yep.
Subject to those amendments, I move second.
Okay, so the motion's made to add 8, which states, bid for the same goods or service has been conducted within the last 90 days is a reason for a waiver, and then we're changing, crossing out first selectman or designee, and putting that the board of selectmen may grant a waiver for any of the above reasons. Is there any more discussion on that?
No.
No.
Motion's been made and seconded, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, hearing none, it's approved.
Well done, it's good.
So, that's the first purchase policy revision, and so then the next one's the waiver, because we actually never had a waiver made of the letter to waive the bid, so I think that's included in here.
That was first, that was before the.
Yeah, that was
Page
page
15.
before. Page 15.
So I can read it. August 13th, 2024, the design waiver for the Village Center pedestrian network enhancement project. The Board of Selectmen, this is what it says, voted on August 13th, 2024 to waive the bid process for the design phase of the Village Center pedestrian network enhancement project with construction to be funded through the Connecticut Community Connectivity Grant Program, CCGP, per the guidelines of the town procurement policy section 8, 5, and 8. And a closely related project also funded through a grant from the Connecticut Department of Transportation. The town advertised a competitive bid for engineering design services for the Voluntown Route 138 sidewalk project on May 16th, 2024, and awarded the bid to Freeman Companies on June 25th, 2024. The Village Center Pedestrian Network Enhancement Project is a continuation of the sidewalks to connect the remaining sidewalks in the Village Center. It was determined by both the town and the Connecticut DOT that the two projects are closely connected and related in scope and the discipline of the technical services needed. The Board of Selectmen voted on August 13, 2024 to award the design phase of the Village Center Pedestrian Network Enhancement Project to Freeman Companies. That's what the letter says. That explains why we are waiving it.
So now we need to vote on issuing that waiver.
Right. So that's the letter. That's what the letter would say. We just need to approve it.
I make a motion that we approve the design waiver for the Village Center Pedestrian Network Enhancement Project as described.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So that's good. Can move forward with that grant. And then next is the call for the town meeting, appropriation for the grant for design and DEP. So, do we have the appropriation on here? So,
Page 18.
So this is just a rough draft of it.
yeah, so we need, so both of these
a sign.
On a sign, right? So that's what we are recommending to use some of that for. And then on here is also to acquire DD Trail 1, and then I will check with the attorney to see if, we can do the other part of that,
The little
the
piece,
land
little
for the
piece.
McGuire's, yeah. So if, to add that to the town meeting too. So the call's not ready to go yet for a vote for us to
We
approve.
come up with the data, kind of
Yeah.
rewind on it.
So this is just an idea of what the meeting will be about, and we need a date.
I know I am going to be away
Yeah.
from the 18th of September until the 29th.
I know I'm gone almost the same time, so you're.
So you're in charge. So let's screw things up.
So first thing we're doing is, I'm buying a gavel. I will turn that over to you upon your return, but if it's just me, we will gavel through it.
So we're probably looking at having the meeting at the first couple of weeks of September, when we're all here.
Yes, as it stands right now, I am going nowhere.
You going nowhere? Okay. Did you have
In
anything?
the right place.
Did you have anything the first couple of weeks?
No.
All right, so I'm waiting to hear, I reached out to the school because they
Maybe
will.
said not the 10th, but any other date.
Okay, so.
What's happening in the 10th at school?
Open house.
Perfect, nice to have a meeting, we'll all be here. Two birds, one stone.
So, I don't know what the calendar looks like.
The 10th to 12th is the town audit anyway, so that's probably not
What
great.
days of the week are those?
That's Tuesday to Thursday.
When's our next meet, when's our meetings on?
August 27th is our next meeting.
Calendar on my
And
phone.
then September 10th.
So you don't want to do it the 3rd because that's Labor Day. You don't want a town meeting on a holiday.
Oh, no. Third is Tuesday after Labor Day.
Right.
I think we've done that before, it's awful.
Yeah, you don't want a town meeting after a holiday.
Because that's where we have to try and figure out what was minimum number of constituents to show up to vote.
Do we want to do it on a Thursday? Is that gonna like confuse people?
We did it Wednesday last time, I think.
Yeah, I don't think the date will add much confusion. I think,
Conflict of yoga.
On a Thursday?
Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, we could do it on a Thursday, the 5th or the 12th.
Well, 10, 11, 6:30.
Yeah, well, we'll probably have it at the school,
At
right?
the school.
We need those 5 votes though.
what day are we looking at, the 15th?
The 5th or the 12th.
Or I should say, 15th. Yeah, no, my calendar is wide open.
Board of Education's on the 12th. I think the 5th's the day.
The 5th?
But
The 5th?
Okay.
Yep. Town meeting?
Yeah.
Town meeting.
Special time meeting.
None.
7 p.m.? 7?
Yep.
Is that enough time to get everything out?
yeah.
Autocorrect, town meeting survival, rather than town meeting special.
All right.
7 o'clock.
Yep.
Yes.
So we will, I'll talk to the attorney about the DEP trail stuff, and we'll have, will I give us enough time to do the call at the next meeting, or we have to, okay, so we're good.
Or we need a special meeting, that's,
You know, we can do the call on the August 27th, and that'll give me enough time to get it out.
Doing the meeting then. What's next?
tax refund?
Tax refund. Whatever finds some first in the room.
$21.73 as to, what is this to?
Clive Pryor.
Clive Pryor. I make a recommendation that we issue the tax refund as recommended by the tax collector.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to refund $21.73 to Clive and Peyton Pryor, as recommended by the tax collector. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, is approved. Beach pond meeting, Jordan Lee. So I'm working, I thought this was another meeting. I'm working with, for several requests from Beach Pond to have meetings about weed remediation. I've had, at least one person tell me that they tried to hire, they put in a permit for getting the weeds out and it was declined by the state. They want to know if the state's going to do anything for the weed remediation, and about the drawdown. So I'm trying to get a meeting together with the environmental people, for them to talk to the residents instead of me going back and forth. So I asked them if they could come. They said, yes, I need a date. And they said that more than likely to have everyone there will probably have to be a Zoom meeting or at least a hybrid meeting. So, we need another date for that. I wanted to do that also at the beginning of September before a lot of the residents that went down south left. So we can probably, I don't know.
Is this an attempt to get a drawdown for 25?
It would probably have to be for 25, yes, because it's already for this
Yeah,
one.
because I know we've heard from people who live on Beach Pond that trying to line up a contractor.
It takes them a while, but the thing is, the state wants all of their new drawdown policy. They want, the permits submitted as part of the application for the drawdown, which doesn't really make sense, because why would they go through the process of getting the permits if they're only gonna draw it down 2 feet and then you're not gonna be able to do anything? So, and that's why the state needs to talk to people, because they keep refusing a bigger drawdown than people want to do their repairs, so. And all they would do is like a 2-foot drawdown, and when it rains, it's not really.
I always wonder if, I mean, when I was a kid growing up in the lake in the 60s and 70s, the drawdowns were always much greater than 2
Yeah.
foot. I mean, they're like easily 3 or 4
Yeah,
foot.
they won't do it anymore.
And we need to have them explain to us why they're not doing it anymore. And it also suggests that we should be approaching them with the idea that they should have a drawdown every 5 years, you know, every 5th and every 0 year. So that people would know that, okay, you want to repair the concrete walls fall in owing to the ice. And we have rocks in front of our property
That's what I've
that
told
just
them.
keep getting
It's
pushed
dangerous.
closer and closer, you know, to the shore. But, you know, you can't get a bulldozer or anything out there to move these things unless there's a serious drawdown. And people knew that there were always going to be a cycle of a 4 foot or more drawdown on the 5th or 0 numbered year. You'd be able to line this stuff up. People will be able to plan for it.
And this is what I've been talking to the state about, and they don't believe in deep drawdowns anymore for environmental reasons. They want the residents to put booms up instead. They have this whole process they want the residents to go through, and I'm like, you need to talk to them about this. Like, I can't be the go-through on this, because you're telling me this, I'm telling them that, and then they're asking me questions, and I'm asking you questions back. I'm like, you need to come and talk to the residents and tell them exactly what you're gonna do, what you're not gonna do, and tell them how they can do things the way that you will approve. So, that's what the meeting's for. It's for them to just tell everyone what the deal is.
Remove the middleman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I posted all the stuff they've sent me. I posted on the town website. There's a beach pond part on it, because they keep sending me all these pond management. Well, first it was ocean, because the only paperwork they had they don't believe in retaining walls anymore. They want natural landscaping. And
And they should buy lakefront property and do what they want with it.
all of the stuff all the paperwork they were giving me before was for oceans, which wasn't really helping anyone. So they sent me stuff from other states about lakes and ponds, how to do it, and I put it all up on the website. but they need to come and explain to people exactly what they want, so.
Okay.
And that's what this meeting would be for. And a way to, talk about the weeds. Because the other thing with the weeds too is the state has grants for weed control. And this is why I've been telling the residents for the, some sort of Save the Pond or some sort of nonprofit where we could get, grant funding from both Rhode Island and Connecticut, since it's a dual pond. The state of, I've talked to DEM in Rhode Island, because they're always having grants for weed remediation. They won't give them to another state or a town in another state, but they would give them to a nonprofit. So
So there would need to be two nonprofits, or Rhode Island nonprofit?
no, just one.
Just one,
Yeah.
okay.
Any chance we can piggyback on, to the nice people at the Pawcatuck Wood River Association in that regard?
Beach Pond is not part of that.
They get a chance to
I've asked,
expand.
it's not part of it. Beach Pond is not part of the Wood Pawcatuck watershed. It's a separate watershed.
Well, it might, and I know you got a ton of things to do, so forth, so on, but the Patchogue watershed starts at Beach Pond. And all these streams that flow on down through all these ponds until it finally hits the Shetucket River. It should be a watershed that would involve the towns of Voluntown, Griswold.
They don't have an organization like the Wood Pawcatuck. The Wood Pawcatuck's very active, and we're a member of that through the town. If there is another organization, they've never reached out to the town, and I wouldn't even know.
It doesn't, I don't think there is another
Yeah.
organization, and it's finding the right environmentally conscious
looked.
individuals to
I've reached out to the
take
state.
action, and your suggestion for a nonprofit,
I've reached
might
out,
be the
I've
beginning of
actually
something like
reached
that.
out to the Wood Pawcatuck Association to ask them if there's a similar association in Rhode Island that deals with other ponds, and they sent me one that hasn't been active in like, I don't even know how long.
1972.
So I've
because the one
tried,
person who was the driving force behind it moved.
I've tried to
otherwise,
find
Florida.
other associations that would
Yes.
like take a grant or help us, and there's none, so. And it also comes down to the dual enforcement too, because that bill did pass in Connecticut for the dual enforcement. I'm working on it to get passed in Rhode Island. I already have someone that's reached out to me that used to do pond patrol for Candlewood Lake in Connecticut. He's recently moved to Rhode Island. He also is Coast Guard certified in boat, safe boat.
So this would be a dual enforcement patrol ferryman?
He would be able to do that, or it would be able to create a position like that and go out to job for it, but this is another place where a nonprofit would help us with funding, getting funding from both states to cover it. So,
Is the Friends of the Patchogue Forest a 501c3?
yeah, I don't know if they.
I think they are.
I think so.
Or alternatively, the Connecticut Forest and Parks Association, maybe they would be willing to help us as their blue trails run through the state forest that abut Beach Pond.
I think the challenge comes down to, it's the people who would be motivated to do something about this
Would be the resident.
are the residents, but I don't think they,
We want Tracy to take care of it.
They want me
exactly.
to do it.
They don't have the wherewithal to do it themselves, they want someone else to do it for them.
But it's not anything, I can't.
Yeah.
The town can't collect the money for it, and the town, there needs to be, if there's things that need to be done, there needs to be like at least a committee of residents. There needs to be people overseeing it, because if I'm not here.
Didn't they have an organization? Didn't they form an organization, or did that
Tracy
never
tried,
happen?
gave the list to some guy who then promptly moved
If
to.
I'm not here, like, who's to say that the next selectman is gonna even care, because they haven't in the past. So, there needs to be a continuous oversight of it, and the only way to do that is to have it separate from the town.
The pond owners need to set up the organization.
And it doesn't even have to be just pond owners, it can be people that enjoy the pond, it can be just.
Trust me, I know there's people, they leave beer cans in the diapers in the state forest, yeah. They're not coming much.
Yeah.
But anyway, I need dates for the meeting, so I'm just gonna send a couple of dates that we can do.
Yeah.
This would probably have to, it's probably gonna end up being a Zoom hybrid meeting, and we're probably gonna have to do it in the town hall meeting room. So
Okay.
if people like absolutely cannot get onto Zoom from their own home.
Well, would we want them to
set
be able
up
to ask, would we want this to be just view only Zoom if they're coming in via Zoom? If they want to ask questions, we want them to come to town hall.
They can come to the town hall, or they can submit their questions ahead of time, and we can probably even open it up for questions, like, we can do that.
There's still a lot of potential for abuse there.
Yeah.
Think back.
Yeah, well, this is when we had to register ahead of time.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we can still do that.
Okay.
That was fun, yeah.
Community Water Study Committee formation.
Oh, that's in there.
I didn't see it in here. I saw Apex next. Yep, not in
Oh, I
here.
don't think I had that. I had it on the.
Nope, didn't make it in here.
I didn't get that one here.
It wasn't on the clock, in the.
No. Yep, I missed that one.
It's on with the DP map.
Do you have it in your email or anything?
This was, it's just. What's the next one? We can talk about the IT contract while I look. So the Apex is going up, the contract's ending, so we just need to decide if we're gonna go out to put a bid out for another,
So I strongly suggest we go out to bid on that and see if we find anything else. I will actually have the time available to help review those. So for the next few weeks.
when did that end, October?
Yep. Pretty much now.
Renewal says July 31st.
Oh, it's already done?
So we're now into, we're not actually under contract with them. But they're probably still providing services, assuming they will get the renewal.
So we're on a month-to-month with them, basically. Since I have no interface with these people, are you guys satisfied with them?
I've been satisfied with them. They helped create what we have right now for our IT system. We've been working with them since before I was first selectman. They were the company that, at the time, we had no IT anything, and they helped me build what we have. They were expensive at the time, but they had everything that we needed to create our IT. We might not, they're good, they cover a lot, and actually more towns, they just joined CCM and more towns are going to them. They have every aspect, they do our servers, they do our email, they do our phishing for all those phishing tests that you guys were supposed to take for
email.
security, for
Yep.
email security, they do.
Haven't logged on in 367 days.
They do all of our our IT security, they do everything, and at the time, I picked them because they did everything, instead of going, other companies did this piece and
Piecemeal,
this piece
yeah,
and this
exactly.
piece, and it was too confusing from someone that knows very minimal IT stuff to piecemeal the whole crew. They had everything.
So
We
I
don't need all that now, so.
I think, exactly, I think they were good in getting us where we're at. I think they are growing in the niche market of small towns, and their prices are starting to go up. And their value is dropping as their prices go up. So I think it's at least worth going out to bid to see what else we get. We may not get anything because the niche may be, they've taken over the niche. this may be a de facto monopoly.
So we're gonna need help with the bid, putting in exactly what we need,
Ready to bid.
writing the
Yes.
bid, which
So
you're,
what do we do in the meantime? What do we tell you?
because we don't have anything right now.
Just tell them that we are discussing it.
Maybe, we don't have anything right now without them, so
Understood.
if maybe we can.
So
see if
I'm
they-
They can
back
do a
this
1 year?
weekend, and I will be available next week.
Maybe they can do a 1 year and you can start working on this and we have it go out to bid before it expires.
Yeah,
Are they gonna rake us over the coals for a 1 year versus a 3 year? Because that's normally like, you know, the 1/3 of what we currently pay, we would probably be paying them at least 2x of 1/3. Is normally what happens when you drop from a 3 year to a 1 year.
because if we don't renew with them, we have nothing.
We don't have reserves.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
This is-
and we do
can't
talk to
happen.
them at least once a week, so.
So then what I suggest is start discussion with them about a 1 year renewal. And we may get some, they may not be too rough with us, because that normally indicates that, hey, we want to look at other options. And if they want to keep our business, they're not going to jack us.
Right, if they
Our
jack
ARPA
up
rate's
crazy
too high
amounts,
for
that's not
a
really
1 year,
in their benefit,
then
so.
that makes it much easier for us to take that year, like, start writing up the bids, figure out what we want now, and then start writing it up and start the process, because it's gonna take 6+ months
To get all that done.
to get it done, and then come up with a transition plan from Apex to whoever comes next, if it's anyone else.
Right, because they still might be the best prices, we don't know.
Right. Because the niche that we're in for small town government,
And there's not too many, one of the things, when we have looked into other companies, none of them have that person that comes to the town hall. Like, we had Andrew, I mean, he did a ton of stuff for us today, and we've been waiting for a month for him to come. None of the others have that, personal person to physically come to the town hall and do work. They're all, oh yeah, we're all online, and, you know, we've dealt with service all online, it doesn't work. You know?
because we don't
My
have,
computer
because we
doesn't
don't
work.
have an IT person, because
Oh, yeah.
their assumption is that we have at least
Yeah,
our own part-time IT person.
That's why we.
Right.
And that may wind up being the model that we look at.
we don't have a person, a hired person to do IT.
And they're.
Right, but if we drop down how much we're paying for IT services, it may make more sense to then have a part-time IT person.
I almost wonder though,
enough work for that.
you know, having been on the Board of Education, you know, as a selectman, the school runs a similar sort of service for themselves. We're doing the same
I
thing.
think they use Apex
They use Apex too.
Are they?
Yeah.
I know, well, I talked to Mike Creatoro, who I guess is taking over.
Yeah,
from
he
Jim
took
Ward.
over from Jim.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for the town to hire an IT professional full-time who's really not just learning a new skill set, but somebody who's already Microsoft certified.
Is there a way to create a position that would straddle BOS and BOE?
You'd have to discuss that with the
Yeah,
BOE.
whatever.
And the other
I understand that, but is that something that would be doable? You know, assuming that the Board of Ed agreed to it, is that something that, like the Board of Selectmen, you know, it's in the town budget for a full-time IT professional who covered town and BOE?
Yeah.
If the Board of Ed agreed to it, that's a,
Isn't Mike already, is he part-time or a contractor?
Mike Creatoro?
Yeah, is he,
I think he's the full-time Jim Ward at this point now.
right,
yeah.
is he a contractor or is he a full-time,
I'm not
Wait.
bet he's an employee.
I think he's an employee.
so they're already paying for a full-time?
And they use Apex too.
Right, and, okay,
So, and a lot of what we're using Apex for too isn't just the work they do with their, it's paying for the servers, paying for the hard, you know, the, firewall, and paying for our Microsoft Office, Excel.
but part of what a full-time IT professional would do, even if it was just on the town side.
Those would still have to be paid for regardless of who it is.
Right, but then it could be the à la carte menu, as you're saying, rather than Apex giving us a full package, which is gonna be more expensive than if we pick exactly what we want. It's then someone who can manage all of that. So, my suggestion is, see if we can do a 1-year renewal with Apex, and then we continue down the path of discussing what our alternatives are, particularly since we've got things built up to where we're no longer two tin cans and a piece of string. We've got a lot of presence online for town services, and see if it makes sense to go with a full-time IT person, and offsetting that new position would be
Protection services with Apex.
exactly, because then we just get exactly what we need. Because when you take, you know, what Apex is offering, there's a lot of stuff that they do that we either don't need or is significantly inflated rates for those pieces that are there that we could find much better deals on.
So you're looking at a full-time IT person at the town and Apex? Because that's not gonna be cheaper. than
No.
what's right now.
It would be the full-time IT person would then figure out,
How much does a full-time IT person?
Like $150,000.
They're pretty expensive, you know that, Chip. How much, you know,
well, that's part of what we would need to discuss. But what I'm saying is a full-time IT person who could find and manage the other services that would be significantly cheaper than Apex. Because what's our total Apex spend?
that's what I'm looking at right now.
Because there's a contract, and then there's the add-ons for,
So right now,
the
we're budgeted
call-outs.
50,000, or that's 23, 24. So, yeah, I don't think we could hire a full-time,
it's 150,000,
50,
it's 50,000.
yeah. So
Why
there's
not?
no way we could hire 54,000 in total, I mean, and that's everything, that's paying for other things like,
Is that including all the call-outs?
that.
Because we pay per call-out, right?
We don't ever pay for call-out.
No, it's part of the service.
It's part of the.
What was I seeing for,
Remote
listed for
server,
the,
admin.
you're like 195 an hour, minimum 2 hours. On-site dispatch, same day.
We don't usually have to
We
have
don't
that.
usually ever.
We've never had that.
We don't ever call them to come out.
They do
Because
it
he comes
online.
once a week, we just wait for him, once a month, we just wait for him to come.
So that's included in our pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that 50,000 is also like, all the other software we're getting too, it's not just Apex.
So that includes, so
There's a
Apex
lot
is
of
covering
other
all the
stuff.
licensing for
Yeah. It's like
the O365. How many accounts we've got there?
The cloud services.
Yep.
The firewall, but also like, the alert system we have, all the other, online software packages we have as well, like, that, is included in that as well.
Okay.
The online, exchange through Microsoft, there's $1,000 to them, all that kind of stuff, so that's all 50.
They manage all that for us, so we don't have to worry about it.
So,
So that point is that 54 in our budget isn't just Apex.
no, I understand that what Apex was far more encompassing, but they are now being direct billed for those, 18 or 19 Exchange Online accounts that we have at the government rate, and then the O365 accounts that we have separate from that. I'm going to now backtrack and say, at $54,000, I thought it was a lot more expensive than that. So I should have opened with, so how much
How
we
much
pay
is it?
Apex?
Yeah. Because there's no way we could hire an IT person for 54,000.
Not full-time.
Not full-time, no way. Because that doesn't even include health insurance. You know, you hire a full-time person, you gotta include benefits, health insurance and all that. The health insurance alone is 30 grand.
Okay, Apex 3-year renewal is my recommendation. After all that, sorry for taking so long to get to that point.
It's good to discuss different things like that.
Yeah.
Only 18 minutes, but that's okay.
But it's counting.
No, it's good. That's good.
It's good to discuss different options and see what it is, but
Yeah.
I don't know that really that's that expensive for what we're getting.
It's not.
Well, but how much is the school paying?
It is, I think it would, I don't know if they're probably already signed into a contract, but it eventually we'll look together to try to do a combined package and see if they'd give us a better discount.
Yeah, because that would work. That would work in our advantage to do that.
Because we have, what, you said 20 licenses for the town hall. this place is gonna have at least 50 or 60.
Well,
Yeah.
so the licensing is based on government pricing, so it's like $5. So whether you have 20 licenses or 500 licenses, it's still $5 a license,
Okay.
things like that.
Right, there is, so Microsoft is good that there is government pricing for when you do the per seat count. And if we've got, we've got 18, and that's just email stuff. And that's like every town employee, including the fire department, all the full-time staff there, they've all got email accounts. They don't have the full Office 365, which we've got, that's a separate set of licenses, which gives stuff that you're not using. But that gives you full access to the full Microsoft suite, Word, Outlook, Exchange, PowerPoint, Excel. So the town does have those licenses as well, but there's government pricing, and that's probably a significant part of why Apex is not way more expensive than I thought it would be. If they are paying for those services on our behalf and then charging us $54K.
They just charge us what the government price is.
Again, I recommend, 3 years at that rate is pretty good, and we can have further conversation about, does it make sense to combine with the school for further,
Economies of scale.
exactly. Park signage.
I found the water study.
So
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
we're going forward with the IT?
Yeah.
Do we
Yes.
need a motion or anything?
So
like that?
moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and
Aye.
seconded to go into another 3 years for Apex. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Community Water Study Committee. The Community Water Study Committee shall be established to oversee the Community Investment Fund, CIF, Community Water Planning Project. This project includes, among other things, the evaluation of potential water systems, preliminary design, and public outreach education. The committee shall consist, and this is for the downtown section of town and Bennett Circle area of town each month. The committee shall consist of at least 5, but no more than 7 members who are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The committee will dissolve at the completion of this project. Powers and duties, the Community Water Study Committee will work with the Board of Selectmen and other appointed officials to oversee the Community Investment Fund water study. The responsibilities of the Community Water Study Committee include, but are not limited to, working with representatives from Kleinfelder, Resilient Land and Water, and Connecticut Water to evaluate potential water systems, complete a preliminary design, and on public outreach and education. Making sure the project stays on budget and reporting any budget changes to the Board of Selectmen, and making sure the project stays on task and follows an appropriate timeline. Committee administration, the committee reports to the Board of Selectmen for approval of all spending and of the final project. Members of the Community Water Study Committee will elect officers of the chairperson and secretary at their first meeting. The secretary will make sure that agendas and minutes are posted with the town clerk, and all members of the committee shall serve without compensation. So that's the formation of the committee. My only thing is, it was recommended of the town attorney in the past to not have committees less than 5, but I don't know.
If we're gonna be able to get 5.
Yeah. And because this is a committee and they don't really, everything with the committee is recommended to the Board of Selectmen for final approval anyway, if we want to lower that or not. That's the only thing.
But
It's
it's gotta be an odd number.
yeah, because it's not like they don't make the final decision on things, it's a committee, it's a sub-base of another thing.
So make it 3.
I would recommend that as a committee. And I have, there's a lot of people in the discussion because we have the representatives from Kleinfelder, they're the engineering firm, and the other, what do they call, Resilient Land and Water is another 2 members of Connecticut Water that are gonna be involved in the discussion too, that are also non-voting members. So that's already a lot of people.
So it's already more than 5 members if we get
But
3
they're
people.
not voting members though. And I
Does
have
it say that they have to be voting members?
No,
Eh,
that makes sense too.
Yeah,
It's
they're
so far.
advisory and,
I just have, because I will be at all the meetings too, but I'm also non-voting because I do double voting as a board person. I have one resident, James Anderson, that would be on the committee. He's volunteered. He lives in the downtown area as a resident and a business owner because he's the one putting in the brewery. And he also lives in the area. I would like someone from the Bennett Road, Bennett Circle area to be on the committee, so if anyone knows anyone they want to talk to see if they want to volunteer. And I don't know.
what's her name? Former art teacher.
Nancy McBride.
Nancy and Jim McBride.
So let's see.
I know they're on Bennett Circle.
And if anyone's watching and is interested, they can reach out, and I put it in the newsletter as well, so. Ideally, I would like to have someone from that area. We can keep it at 5, because it doesn't say that if they're,
Voting or not voting.
or not voting, okay. That's fine.
See, and now you don't have to go back to lawyer.
All right, so just, need a motion and a second to, for the.
Motion.
Create the committee.
To create the committee as described.
With how many members? 35.
5. Because
They're all
there'll be several non-voting members, but they'll be members of the committee.
I can say that that the 5 includes voting and non-voting members. It's pretty much like they're just gonna put together, they're putting
Proposals
together
to
a
come to us.
proposal to come to us, so it's
Yeah.
not really
Technically,
like,
committees can't vote
Yeah.
on anything anyway.
yeah, they're mostly just like working on the
Advisory.
project. Yeah,
So,
it's fine, we're just
Second.
overthinking it. Okay. 5's good. 5 to 7. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay. The longer the meeting gets, the more we overthink. All
Now,
right,
I would
so-
say again, park signage.
Park signage. So, I don't think that we need to do an ordinance for this. I'm gonna ask the attorney on this, but this is for, we've had, cars of people, hanging out behind the town hall, by the pond area and in the pavilion area. They're there all day, all night. I've talked to the state police about it several times, called to have them talk to the people, see if they will leave. The problem is, it's public space, it's a park. If the park's open during the day and they're just hanging out, you can't kick them out. We do not currently have any,
Park closes. at
park
6.
closes, whatever, so.
Can we just do signage without an ordinance?
But I gotta check on that. If we do have to do an ordinance, we can have it ready for our upcoming town meeting. We'll have that added to the call. But I did talk to the rec commission because they would be the ones that would have to come up with the hours and like any park rules and everything. So I talked to them, they're getting ready to schedule a special meeting to talk about it, to see if they agree on, the park is closed from sunset to from dusk to dawn. Cause the, Troopy Master Sergeant who I talked to said that if we had closing hours and there were people there at night and we had signs posted stating that the park was closed at night, they could enforce for them to leave at night. We don't have that, so.
What about, the basketball courts? With the
And
lights
I
going?
asked that, I was talking to them about the rec commission about that, because Mark, who's the chair of the rec commission, him and I are both on the EDC, and we were sitting at the farmer's market on Sunday. He said he's gonna recommend to the, commission when they meet that the basketball courts will close X amount of time after sunset, so.
Okay. Because I mean, we've got the lights, I mean, it's
Yeah.
nice to be able to use that for those who want to use it.
Yeah, that's what I.
But at the
had said
same
too.
time, there is, I remember a gentleman when the Gate Street Complex town meeting,
Yeah,
who lives in the first or second house, who's like, yes, those lights shine directly through my blackout curtains into my
well,
bedroom.
because whoever was playing down there was a timer on the lights, they would go off at a certain time, but they broke the timer so that they were on all the time. But if we had a rule that the park was closed at a certain time, the police would be able to go over there and enforce that as well. It would also help with the damage done on the parks, which we need too. So he was recommending like 90 minutes after sunset or something, but the board will talk about that as well.
Okay.
What about the alcohol thing?
Oh, and they're gonna look at the alcohol too. He recommended alcohol and illegal drugs, and I said, well, illegal drugs are kind of a given, but if you change it to alcohol. and
But what about
smoking and
legal
vaping-
drugs now?
Yeah, smoking and vaping, that's what I said. I would put
No,
alcohol.
I'm thinking marijuana.
Well, that would be smoking and vaping, so if you say no alcohol, smoking, or vaping on presence, because there has been, they sit under there and drink alcohol.
And you already have the ordinance for the alcohol.
We already have the ordinance for that, so. They're gonna talk about it at the rec commission, and if they approve, they're gonna get the signs, we'll get them up. The master sergeant said, take a picture of the signs up, because he said 9 times out of 10, they get taken down. But if they have proof that the signs were supposed to be there, they'll be able to help us enforce it, so. That's where we are with that. And I'll find out if we have to do an ordinance, but I'm not sure, so. If we do, we'll add it to the town meeting. And that's all I have.
I had a suggestion, but it's gone.
Was it there?
It's gone. It's gone. I was like, oh, I got something for suggestions for next meeting, and that was much earlier in the meeting, and it is now gone. So, I was looking to see if there's anything that triggered my memory.
Nothing.
Nothing else? Move to adjourn?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye, because we still got to drive the van back.
Oh, yeah.